And just right from what Tricia has said about marketing, the charge from, our mindset, the people around us, and the 3 levels of growth. So we're going to start from the marketing POV first, and then we take it to, building relationships and the other parts of this session. So the first question we ask is, what are the first steps a small business should take to building a marketing strategy that actually converts a small business?
Okay, hello again. The first thing is the first alphabet on that board, which is awareness. So as a business that is just starting out, your primary goal when you're creating your marketing strategy is to focus on awareness. You need as many people as possible to hear what you have to say, to see your product or see your service in action. That's it. So while, yes, you can still action the others, but 70% of your efforts will be on the first A, ensuring that people can see you. Now, you also want to do the next thing, which is ensure that you are driving awareness across 2 types of platforms. The first is one-to-one, and the second is one-to-many. So many times we are good at one-to-one. Like now you come to church, you're like, this is what I do, man. This is my granite that I'm frying. Fantastic. How many people do you want to talk to sell these granules? Tell me. How many hours will it take you to speak to 200 people? Your saliva will really not finish. So you then want to create a strategic plan that rides more on one-to-many. You should still do one-to-one, but one-to-many. So what are the platforms that with one post, many people get to see it? With one push, 20 people will see it. That's how you think. And then the final part of that is, there's a quote that I like, which is, when you don't have leverage, borrow it. When you don't have leverage, borrow it. And the answer to that is partnerships. Simple. When you are starting out, get as much partnerships as possible. Any type of partnership, we get it. So one of the strategies that I used to introduce Ziba into the market was partnerships. And I used different types of partnerships I'll quickly share. The first was influencer partnerships. Now, influencer partnerships is different from influencer marketing. Please note that. Influencer partnership is where I have something of value and I'm exchanging it for the influencer's platform. So there's no money exchanging, value is exchanging. So I begin to reach out to different influencers, those that I don't even know. But the thing is, you are too scared of no, so you won't reach out. I will send you a message. What's the worst you tell me? No. Have you ever seen any tombstone that says, therein lies Garba Maba, died because 20 people said no? Have you seen that? No. Thank you. So I will send the DM. Please, I'd like to invite you. You have a 2-night free stay, and in exchange, many people took it up. So every month, there was somebody who was in an influencer partnership deal with me. And once they post, their community comes in troves. Then there's value partnership. I did value partnership with media houses. There's content partnership. That's something you can do, where I call it content for content. You post me, I post you. But we have to find a storytelling angle so that it does not look like it's an advert. Does that make sense? So both of us have 2,000 followers. It's okay. In that your 2,000, 5 can buy from me. Don't despise the days of little beginnings. You're always hustling big people. Grow with your peers. So you can do content exchange where I post for you and I will use a storytelling angle and give it to them. And then maybe 3 weeks later, you post for me. Yeah. Or you partner with events. This is an event. This event has what? There's about 100 of us here plus. So these people can see what you are doing if you strategically partner right. Am I making sense? So there are different things that you can be doing, but partnership is something that can help you with that first A, which is awareness. I hope I...
Yes, thank you very much, Ma. Thank you. I like what she had said. So if we were in the session before, she shared the AAA and the double R. You can quickly look on the board there or ask someone for their notes. But what she had said about relationship and partnership, which brings me to my next question to you, Ma. I wanted to ask you a question in terms of relationship, Mrs. Ladi. From the perspective at Polaris Bank, how do trust and integrity shape sustainable relationships between SMEs and financial institutions? I know Coach Tricia has spoken about, peer-to-peer relationship, but the key thing here is that integrity, the value. How can small businesses build integrity that it's not just only your peer-to-peer, but even organizations can also trust you and rely on you?
Okay, thank you. Trust and integrity are two key foundations when it comes to banking relationship, be it individual, SME, corporate, and what have you. And what are those trust and trust and integrity? If you walk into a bank and you open an account and you say, okay, let's just say you open an SME account and say, I am into fashion designing, photography, and stuff like that. And then the bank will expect that the transaction dynamics on your account will be that of payment from clients, payment for job done. But if we review your account and we see a large sum of money from undisclosed or undisclosed source, that's why sometimes you find out that you have some accounts that are being frozen, or what have you. So what typically happens is that we kind of look out for what is the account meant for? What are you using your account for? Are you using your account for what the kind of business you say you are doing, or you are using your account to pick up funds, funding funds and stuff like that? So we kind of look at it and then advise. And then another issue is that banking relationship, when it comes to trust and integrity, is a two-way thing. Trust us to keep your fund. Also, we also want to trust you to know that, yes, you are running your account properly, so that most of the time is your transaction dynamics that speaks to the bank before we take decision on whether we will have a relationship with you or not. So if your account is an account such that has never witnessed a 1 billion transaction before, and suddenly we see 1 billion coming in, the first thing is a suspicious transaction. So that kind of two-way thing is a two-way thing. So run your account properly, be transparent about it, and we'll also be transparent with you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you for sharing. So please to you, Mr. Opeyemi. You had spoken earlier about...
Sorry, can I talk
Yes,
about
please.
integrity? Sorry to cut you in. So there's something there's a philosophy that I live on, and it's the fact that integrity is a higher form of currency than cash. So many times, we don't build the currency called integrity. Integrity will bail you on days where you do not have money. So as an individual, this is a charge to people here. As an individual, be a person of integrity. Be somebody that if you say A, I don't have to go and check if it is A. It is A. Example, when I was building the resorts, my mentor lied to me and told me that 150 million will build the resort. It was a big lie. 150 million, the building has not come up. And when I go back and say, sir, it's like you are a liar. And he said, if I told you the real amount, you won't have started. So the money finished. And one of my people told me, oh, here's how you can raise funds. You can sell rooms in the resort. Like take 2 rooms and sell them as investment. And I said, okay. So I packaged this room. I did it. He gave me a proposal template. I did it. And then I go and start presenting to big people who I thought had money. And everybody's like, oh, there's nothing here. What's this? Sorry. So then I remembered my peers, people who had either been in my coaching program, my friends I met on Instagram, or my real friends. And I began to send the proposals to them. I got my first yes from one of my students. And she said, Coach Tricia, do you know why I am investing in this? I said, no. She said, because I trust that anything that you say you will do, you will put your full heart into it. So I'm giving you this money because I know that you will bring my money back to me. And that's how I was able to sell my rooms. Three of the people that bought, I knew them from coaching. They are not my friends in real life. But they said, I trust that you are going to bring my money back. Now, after selling to them, guess what? The money's still finished. Amen? Yeah, and we have not finished. So at this point, I begin to borrow. I borrow from a cooperative of an oil company through their staff. Then I begin to borrow from individuals. So the day of lunch, when everybody was laughing, Opeyemi was there for the lunch. When they were smiling and snapping, I was thinking in depth. I was owing 10 people. So they're like, hey, small chops, nice. I'm like, God, I beg. No shame me. Hey, God, how are we going to do this? But guess what? As I started making money, I didn't touch a dime. And my husband is like, but there's money less. I said, we're not lessing anything until I paid everybody back. Because why? I will need them again. And I want them to trust that when I say I will give you back, I will give you back. So now, I'm trying to raise 1 billion for phase 3. Guess what? I have a line of investors. They are begging me. I say, no, I'm going to collect money from bank. Because now, those that I sold the rooms to, they refuse to give me my rooms back because they are making sweet money.
Don't worry, we will give you the money.
They're making what? Sweet money. It's integrity. I have somebody who every 3 days, she messages me, Tricia, don't forget to, for phase 3, I'm buying room. I said, but not say I'm selling room. That's what integrity does. So on the day when you don't have money, they will show up for you in troves. Be a person of integrity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I just want to say that I'm one of your students. So me too, I'm in line to buy a room very soon. I'm a student of TriciaBiz. So yes, and she said big moves. So one day, Ma, my money is going to come.
We want to raise that funds for you.
You see, we're on the line. We've joined the line of investors. Thank you very much for sharing. So to you, Mr. Okpe, you had shared earlier about value-centered mindset. And I want to ask you, how can young entrepreneurs, creatives, and professionals stay true to their values in a competitive or unethical environment? We know what the street is saying in terms of like, how can we stay true to ourselves that, regardless of what is happening, we are, keeping our eyes focused?
Like I had mentioned to Oluwaseyi when she asked the question of being in government, you realize that whether you are working with government or you are in government or you are just wherever you are generally in this world, because of how things happen and how things are moving really quickly, people tend to pressure your integrity, your value system, right? Because they are then asking you, oh, you just have to do this and let's forget about this one and everything. But I remember when I was bidding for a project with, 2 states that never happened, Delta State and Ministry of Transport in Delta State, and then Ministry of Industry, I think, in Osun State. And 2 things happened, of course, at different ministries, different states, but the same thing. And it was really around, there's a way we need to present this thing for it to happen. There's a way we need to sort of work the books. There's a way we need to do this. You are coming in as a consultant, but this is how. Unfortunately for me, I was going in with friends who didn't mind doing that. But at that point, it was now left to me to say, do I want to just say, do you know what, I'm pulling out. I'm not doing this again. That's for the Delta State. And then I think at that point, what my value system sort of helped me to do, and it's something that I referenced, and Tricia also sort of mentioned it while she was speaking, was always think solution, be solution-minded, right? Because once your value system, it's like I explained, it's the root, right? It will fuel these ideas. And so for me, I was sitting and thinking, this is government. How can I go around this without tampering or compromising on my value system? And I thought of a different way that we could approach it that wouldn't seem as a problem, right? And so that's for Delta State. That happened, right? We went as far as we could until it was time for the governor to sign off, and then that has delayed up till now. This is 2 years after. Osun State was, you are fighting with many people. I know the commissioner personally. I know somebody who is, my mother-in-law is also in the cabinet. But then there are other people in the government that you are, no matter, even if it's your wife that is in government, there are certain people that you need to also appease and tend to. And for that one, I just saw it as, you know what, I'm not going to, because of relationship, compromise on my value system, one, and then also force the people that I hold dearly, right, to then ensure that I get this thing. So I'm like, you know what, they have said deal with these people, and I'll deal with them based on my own, the value mindset of my organization, the values of my organization. And it didn't happen, and then we moved on. But has that stopped other projects, other projects from coming? No, this is a year, Osun is a year after, right? And I have kept on working. I have worked with others. Have I signed off? Will I still keep on pursuing government? I will, right? But it doesn't mean that I will then compromise because I need to get this year.
Yeah, thank you.
To put it on the flip side, of course, I won't mention names, but I know somebody, a friend, who, how does he do his own? He is a contractor. Government, you know that somebody, they just label themselves government contractor. Means that they're always in the corridors of powers looking for contracts. What does he do? When government change hands and then they change the senior officers, he goes to your office with an envelope, usually USD, and say, oh, welcome to this office. Whilst you are here, if you want more of this, see my files. Payment is still pending. This one, you still have to sign off on. And it's working for him and he's still doing it. But does that mean that I should do it because I want to be at that point? No.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So at least we can get from that, you know, defining your values and sticking to it regardless of what you see happening around you. Mrs. Ladi, I want to ask you one question. Beyond financing, right, how can SMEs leverage strong relationships with banks to unlock opportunities for long-term growth?
Okay. First, build your account. Run your account. And I like what she just mentioned about integrity. Run your account professionally. If it's an individual account, run it like an individual account. If it's a corporate account, run it like a corporate account. If it is an SME account, run it like an SME account. And apart from that, build equity. Be professional. Hire professional. Be structured. Have a structured company. Because typically, because sometimes they say, banks don't give out loans. Banks don't support SMEs. Banks only look out for the big corporate and stuff like that. It has to do with your books. It has to do with your books. So if you send a proposal that you want, for instance, you want 100,000 to fund your account, the first thing I'm going to look out is pull out your account statement and look at it and see how serious-minded the account, because your transaction history actually do what? It presents you. It goes before you. It goes beyond where you can even imagine. It will go to the board, it will go to the account officer, it will go to the regional head, and then all your history will just be analyzed before they make up their mind. So if you are into, say, a resort, for instance, I will look at her account and see the kind of turnover for instance, she's looking for 1 billion. I'll look at her turnover, and I'll look at her credit history. She said one thing. She said integrity. That integrity is what? Which means that when you take out loan, you will be able to pay back as at when due. When you take out loan and you say you want to build resort, make sure it's a resort, not that you go and buy Mercedes-Benz. And I'll give you an instance. A company approached us and said he wanted a loan for expansion. And I said, what kind of expansion? He said he wanted to expand his cosmetics business. I said, okay, so we went to the factory at Ota. We had a look at it, looked around. And the first quote he quoted was that he wanted 150 million. By the time I got there, we analyzed it with our credit admin, everybody, credit risks. We look at the criteria, look at everything, and found out that he needed 750 million. And we said, oh, it's good. The cash flow was good, and everything was all right. And then we gave it to him. We presented it, did the pitch deck, did everything, and we presented it, and we disbursed. The good thing that we disbursed in tranches. So we disbursed the first 250 million, and we gave him also a working capital to pay salaries, install all the necessary equipment and things like that. And then operations called me one day and said, Madam Ladi, transaction they go on for this your customer account. I said, like how? He said, the guy did Dubai you. I said, I don't understand. He said, yes. So I went to spoil the account, and truly, the guy was billing. You know? So immediately what we did was do what? We just blocked the account. We just made sure that we stopped for that disbursement and went after recovery. And what I was saying. And you know what? We blacklisted him. So what happens that when you're unable to pay, frankly, there's nowhere, be it microfinance, be it fintech, you will not be able to borrow because of what? First, your credit history is bad. Secondly, you have to have integrity. Now, maintain a good credit history, I've mentioned. Then integrity. Make sure you use the funding and the account that you meant to use. Not that they give you and you go and start living lavishly. No. Then another thing is that also have equity. So if you're coming to the bank and you say, okay, you want to have a relationship with the bank, or you want the bank to fund your business, you must make sure you come with your own equity. The bank won't go all the way 100% with you. So if you are looking for 100 million, 1 million, come with your own 10% equity, so that the bank will know that we are partners and that we are not going all alone, but we are all going together. And most times, when you start a business, you want to start on your own. No, that's why banks are partners. And there's this financial literacy gap that you don't know, that you can't, it's not necessary you go all alone. The first organization you should sit down and discuss your plan with is your bank. Is your bank. So you start with a good bankable business plan. And the good bankable business plan entails what? You have done your research very well, you know your market niche, you know the industry very well, you are experienced, and if you are not experienced, please hire somebody or get a partner that is experienced in that field. And then you sit down with your bank as an advisory. And then they will advise you the kind of loan that you should take, the kind of facility that are good. Even if you want to automate, the bank is there. If you want to expand, the bank is there to help you. All you need to do, reach out. And then please partner with a good bank.
Thank you very much, Ma. So we are a bit pressed for time, and we're just going to ask questions in the audience. We can take 2 or 3 questions. So please, if you have any question, can you signify by a wave of your hand, and the usher will put a microphone in your hand. We can only take 2 questions. Can I see any questions? You people are very intelligent, too. You want to ask questions? Okay. All right. So I'm just going to ask one last question to you, Ms. Tricia. Sorry. So for brands that want to start small businesses, right, in defining their unique value and how they can communicate effectively, because we know that people in here have the idea in their heart, and from what we've shared, what tips, or, if we could just touch on short points, because we're pressed for time, on how they can clearly identify that this is exactly what they want to do and this is how they should communicate it to people. Yes, unique value proposition and communicating effectively.
Okay, so one marketing strategy that can help you scale fast is having a differentiation, all right? And some people will call that unique value proposition, some will say it's unique selling point, etc. What is different about you, your product versus his product? Simple. And there are different ways that you can approach differentiation. Would it be in the product itself? Like, everybody else is doing squares. Maybe I'm going to make mine rectangle. Does that make sense? You know, how can I innovate this product in a way that it stands out? Because when you have a differentiated product, what it helps you do is it helps you drive word of mouth. People are talking about it on your behalf. You know, that's what you see people enjoy when there's mini innovations. Like when the person started, let's say, Auto Gele. We all remember Auto Gele days.
Yes.
We just began to talk about it, and then everybody else jumped on it because it was something different. Now, if you cannot innovate on the product side of things, you can innovate on service. The average business in Nigeria has extremely terrible customer service. So if you just decided that, you know what, I'm just going to take service and I'm going to ensure that our service is so fantastic and our service is fast. So you ride on speed, we are going to respond fast, and we are going to be pleasant, and people are going to have a great time with us. That can also drive conversations. Oh, go to that place. They won't stress you. They are this. So there are different ways that you can create what is unique about your business. But I would advise you, in a day as today, where every second somebody is entering into the market with a launch of their own product, something that can help you scale fast is to have a differentiating factor about your business. And that can now be the starter conversation in the marketplace.
Thank you very much, Ma. So as we quickly round up, I will just give 30, 45 seconds to each of our speakers to please just give a charge to our, entrepreneurs, creatives, and professionals here. Any last words for them, Ma, Mrs.? Yes.
Well, what I can say is that the world is big enough and is wide enough to take every idea that you have. And please, don't say you are not good enough. And don't remain small in your eyes, for you are bigger than what you think you can do. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Okwe.
I think I would say something that I left out when I was talking, which is build an accountable community. And it can be a community of 2, a community of 5, but make sure that you have these people that you can easily go back to check that your value system is still in check. Very quickly, I was on a call with a group of friends who are just like that. This community I'm talking about, 5 of us, and there are 2 of us in Nigeria. And they asked me, oh, how are you surviving in Nigeria? And I said, once upon a time, I used to think of, oh, dollar this, Tinubu that, this one, that. And I realized that it was taking me into depression. But the moment I made my mind that I'm not going to think that way, and I'm going to focus on, solutions, right? Think positive, right? Remind yourself of your values, right? With that, I mean, you will thrive. Definitely will thrive. So stay positive and have an accountable community.
Thank you very much, sir. Ms. Tricia.
Hey, so I will say that, as you learn skills today or as you improve on these skills that you have, do not remain at the bottom of the value chain or do not remain close to the ground. Let me explain. The people who make the most money are not those at the beginning of the value chain. Neither are they those that are close to the ground. Example, in the agriculture value chain, the farmer is the poorest. True or false?
True.
Is the one closest to the ground. And it's not just about being poor, it's being able to scale. So if I look at beauty, for instance, let's say that you're a makeup artist. How many faces do you want to paint to blow to 1 billion? How many? Calculate by the number of hours you have per day. So the makeup artist who is painting face is the one at the bottom of the value chain. That's the person at the ground. So you now sit down. How can I innovate in this value chain? How can I be the person that takes what the farmer is farming and turn it into nuts and export it to Malaysia? Are we listening? How can I be the person who, okay, yes, I know how to do makeup. I can put makeup at my studio, but how can I begin to create beauty products? And the beauty products can go where my foot and my hands cannot go. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if you want to think scalability, if you are thinking wealth, you need to ensure that you are not the person who remains at the foot of the value chain. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So please, a round of applause for our panelists. Thank you, Mrs. Tricia. Thank you, Mr. Okwe. And thank you, Mrs. Ladi.